did warn about the coming war. We told you won't be norm when they come the swarms. Back in the day when we did warn about the coming war.
South Korea says North Korea faces hell of destruction after ending 2018 military pact. So this is against South Korea. Normally, you would see this kind of talk from North Korea, but they're saying South Korea's defense minister issued a stern warning to North Korea on Wednesday after the rival and neighboring countries announced that they would not abide by a military pact that reduced tensions in the region. North Korea has only two choices: peace or destruction. A statement from the South Korean Defense Ministry said, quoting the minister, Shin Won-sik, according to Reuters, if North Korea makes reckless actions that harm peace, only a hell of destruction awaits them. Would you not think, if you read this quote, that this was Kim Jong-un and not South Korea? It is absolutely kind of mind-boggling that they're it's almost like they want a war. It's almost like the world wants a war with North Korea, South Korea, Venezuela, Guyana, Israel, Hamas, Ukraine and Russia, China and Taiwan, India and Pakistan. We just need all of them to go off at the same time. And every one of them needs to have the U.S. involved. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. We're going to cover a lot of stuff that has happened in the last 24 hours. So stick around. Today's going to be a good show. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. Back in the day when we did warn about the coming war, we told you won't be norm when they come. All right, so if you did not know, you can go to our website and find a full bibliography for today's show. So if there's a source or of course, an article that you're like, hey, where did you get that from? You can easily go over to our website and find it. Not only that, you can find every single picture, tweet, article, any kind of document that we're going to share here will be right over there. The link for that is right down in the description, right down below our video. And of course, that's on every platform. There's some sort of description with the link. Let's bring in my co-internet brother, Dex James. What is going on and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
So as far as the last 24 hours, it has kind of gone much like the last 1,400 million hours. Which has been, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. So we're going to talk about that. If I try to warn you guys, if there's something that's easily going to cause panic or something, try to warn those that are sensitive. But today there's kind of some crazy events happening worldwide right now, not just in the U.S., but around the world. Dex, first of all, before we move on, the South Korea thing, did you not think that was like reversed? Like that sounded like Kim Jong-un, not like South Korea saying that.
It did. I mean, at first time when I was reading the headline, I'm like, wait a minute, is this not the other way around? And yes, it does. But at the same time, it seems like we're seeing this escalation. We've seen it from him, but now we're seeing it more from the South. So, and I think as we get that escalation back towards Kim, the real question is, does Kim take it or does he do something about it? And he has always talked a big game, But he's never, we haven't really seen him act yet. But he's gotten emboldened, especially after his meeting with Putin, especially after getting a lot of support from him as well as China, and some of the technology he's been advancing. So I suspect we may see things happen there.
Yeah, and the gear, the different weapons that he may have received. Of course, what was it? Was it China? Was it Xi Jinping a couple of years ago that went there by train, directly there by train, or did Kim Jong Un go to China via train? I forget which one visited which, but I feel like they went there by train. When they do those kind of
Yeah,
meetings,
he did both. He's been to both by train.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you wonder if they load them up with crazy weapons and send it back to North Korea. What do you guys think? Let's do a quick roll call, though. It's a little bit more laid back over on this channel. If you're coming from the other one, let's do a roll call of where you're from. If you're in the chat, there was about 1,000 when we started, so thank you guys. I appreciate that. Thank you everybody that made it today. Let's do just a general state where you're from or province. It helps you find other folks from around your area. The big main message, and I hope it communicated right. People really need to open their eyes, and I really don't. I'm not talking to any of you. Like most all of us are trying desperately to tell some friend or family member to get prepared, but you also don't want to sound like a nut. You don't want to sound like a crazy person. I hope that a lot of those that if they gave that to the friend, there's certain pieces that if a normal person looks up, they're like, how did I miss this? Like, how did people miss that there are these, gigantic threats and things like that? Most people do. Most people miss all of that. And that might be the kind of match under their foot to get them prepped. So that's why we put that together. That was actually after just the last night or the night before, I saw a friend. And I basically ended up saying, oh, I got to send you some of this stuff. And I was hoping that he would read all of those articles and end up going through all of them and saying, oh, wow, it really is getting crazy. It's so far from reality to me to not follow these things, but I understand that many people don't. Many people do not follow any news, but not even rumors. Like they don't talk to people. They don't know anything that's going on. How many of you know somebody that is completely clueless to world geopolitics or any kind of event, whether it be down the street or across the planet? How many of you know that? By the way, thank you everybody that has just made it into the chat. Thank you. Hello from Statesville, North Carolina. Lord Andrew says me. Yeah, there's a lot of people. I know a few. It says we on to you. I like how you spell that. Jungle J, we got BFE Kentucky here. Hey, my brother is that way. Old time gamer. It's crazy how many people just don't follow anything. They are completely in the dark about what is happening right now. And what is happening, we're all in debate about it. I'm 98% sure of my stance on this. And that's why I share it. But I think everybody should go with their own gut on what they think is going to happen. If you really don't feel like something big is coming, then you probably, find something better to watch. Dex, go ahead.
I'm in the same boat. I've got family members that don't buy it. I got plenty that do, but plenty that just have their head in the sand. And I have friends. I just had one the other night I was talking to and trying to give them some insight, and they just don't even pay attention to any news. They just live their life with their head completely in the sand.
Well, okay. Oh, take this for example. You tell a friend or a family member, you're like, oh, there was severe threats to our power grid or whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, but did you see the game the other night? Like they just completely just went right past them over there. But no, did you hear what I said? The grid is under severe threat. Like all of the power might go off. Oh yeah, it's done that before. But did you see that ball he threw? Oh man. Like no, but did you see that 44 people got taken out? Like right there across the street. It's currently happening. A bullet just whizzed by your head. Oh yeah, but how's the weather? Right? Oh, hot, right? Ooh. Wow, windy. You feel that sudden wind? That was weird. It was just really short and brisk right by my head. That's how much people are in the dark. It's like how do people not see what's coming? That's how I feel about it. And I know I've got some pretty like crazy thoughts in my head, especially like my asteroid theories. Like I honestly could I think that there's a lot of stuff that I think that a lot of people do think is crazy. Like the fact that I believe they know. I always said like, oh, maybe this is I think that they know about an asteroid that's gonna hit. And I think that that would explain a lot of the crazy stuff that's going on, but that's just one of my side theories. That's why I say 98% sure. 2% of me thinks like maybe all of this stuff, all of the events that are happening right now is because they know of some, one thing I'm sure of. They know something we don't. And the way you could see that is how many rich elites that are the top of the circle. There is no clearance above them. Those rich people are preparing for an event. How much do you need? If the person with the top security clearance is preparing, then why the hell aren't we? Dex, go ahead.
Around my friends and family and acquaintances, it's the military people, military backgrounds or military families. They're usually, you know, awake and preparing. The scary ones for me, though, are the ones I know that have been or are in the defense industries, and they don't talk a lot, but they're prepared and they know stuff that's going on. They either can't talk about it or they won't talk about it. But you get a little bit from them every now and then.
Yeah, and if you talk to currently serving military, they're most likely either deployed or going to deploy. If you talk to retired military, they're talking to actively retired or friends or buddies that have family that are in, and they're saying the same thing. That they believe in the next couple of years we're going to go to war with China. What's funny though is everybody talks about Russia, everybody talks about North Korea, everybody talks about this, but it's only a select handful of media that really focuses in on China. It's one half of our government that is focused on China. It's not a bipartisan thing. It's a partisan object. Like I don't understand how it's like not super obvious that China is making moves right now in every which way. They're trying to make a move to be number one. But who knows? Maybe that's the smallest of our issues because maybe there's a natural disaster coming, and that's why they're trying to get a clamp down on everybody. And maybe that's why they're designing mass fatality tracking systems. Who knows? But let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for everybody that made it. Bug Nana, TV Vovo, Briar Patch, Heartbroken Survivor. I love y'all. Gotta go. Oh, so early. Okay, I wish Heartbroken Survivor. I'm trying to look through to see if it. Hold on for 1 second. I was gonna just try to see if there's anything super important you should know in Florida. No, no. I know. I know. Heartbroken Survivor. Thank you. I know it's late for you, so thank you for stopping by and much love. And I hope you have a pleasant night. And thank you for stopping by. And then Pentagon chief heads to Middle East as attacks on U.S. forces spike. So Iran-backed militia groups have launched drones and rocket at U.S. positions in Iraq and Syria 94 times. Once it hits triple digits, like you'd think we would be at war at that point, right? Every single day, and if this is your first show or something, which very rare to have somebody this be their first show, you've watched all of the other previous coverage we've done on this. If you can't watch all the time, don't worry. There have been this exact same story 94 times over. Every time we covered it was like since the 17th of October, so which is kind of crazy. That's not even 2 months. So in less than 2 months, there's been 94 attacks on U.S. soldiers. And I believe there still hasn't been a single death. It makes you wonder, like, how has nobody perished in all of these attacks? They say there's been traumatic brain injuries. There have been minor injuries. And I think they might have said a critical injury. but there's no evidence. They can't say, oh, this person, and this person perished. So it's kind of weird. 94 attacks and nobody has perished yet. But yet this is the ammo that they have to go to war with Iran, and it seems like they're really framing it up. Dex, is there any evidence that any of these guys have died? And I don't want to say that because if you question that, these are American soldiers, but again, there's nobody to mourn here. None of them have perished. How do you, is that like, I've said before, like, are they shooting like stormtroopers? Just like ding, ding, ding. Like, how are they missing 94 times? That's kind of,
these attacks have just been, they're not massive in the sense that they're super strong, and that they've been able to, infiltrate us with heavy missiles or anything like that. But they certainly can cause damage. Casualties are a number that is both injury as well as perishing. And yes, we haven't had anybody directly affected by that, but we've had plenty of people with TBIs. Most of them have recovered and gone back into service, but TBIs that's a traumatic brain injury. Those can be pretty bad. Sometimes they don't get to go back into service, and it can cause lifelong effects, especially later. And there's lots of other things that have happened. So yeah, but the point is, like, nobody should be attacking. I mean, they had missiles landing at the doorsteps of our embassy in Baghdad, and 20 more feet and it would have been over the fence and inside. And that's kind of scary. And yeah, I guess on one hand you sort of write it off and say, well, they're just not that good. They got bad aim, they got bad equipment. But at what point do you stop and say, look, 94 is enough? Like, you put an end to this.
Exactly. Somebody else said that the guest on Canadian Preppers said, and I'm guessing you're talking about that CIA guy, said that they were bait, that these soldiers being placed over there are bait. I don't know if that's the case. I've heard active and retired military both say they don't understand why anybody is there right now. Some got deployed to Iraq weeks before October 7th. This I know for a fact. Somebody close and personal to us, the son of our friend. And that son, the same person who we had the conversation went when I was telling the dad about all of this stuff, kind of like the conversation I just had with my other friend. Like, look at this. There's only rewind like 6 months ago or 7 months ago now. And I was like, look at this event. Like, we're heading towards something. This is a precipice, right? He's, oh no, war isn't going to happen. Like, I'm actively serving. I would know. I talk to a lot of guys, and I talk to my superiors. Like, there's no rumors of war. Like, people laugh at people when they say that war is coming. That same person told his dad to get a prep plan, like, out of nowhere, told him he was getting deployed, said, we're going to war, told his dad straight up, we're going to war. This is before October 7th. And then said that he needs to have some stuff ready. That's what's crazy. So the same person who was almost like arrogantly a jerk to me about like, oh, it's not happening, has now turned and flipped a total 180. It's really, really crazy. Kenneth Risner says half an hour is too late to wait, y'all. So I'm guessing he's actually 30 minutes. He's watching the start of the show, even though it's live. Kenneth, if you're still watching, fast forward. You're allowed to do that if you're watching that late. And then weaving the quantum web. What is happening? Digital revolution. Wayon 2. House voted to impeach. We've got Kilroy was here, but nowhere. He's gone. Now he's gone. By the way, is that the same Kilroy was here that's been here for years? I think you added some stuff to your name, but man, Seeking Truth. What is happening? We've got J Girl, that's me, Karen Rax. Hope Joe did not give that jerk any more money. Who, Zelensky, I'm guessing? Well, that's happening too. They're begging for more money, saying it's for global security. They're saying, hey, there's a possibility in the future they may actually go into NATO. And when they go into NATO, we'll protect every inch. Until then, we're going to give money as if they are attacking NATO. Makes a whole lot of sense. But yeah. And then we have Iranian foreign minister says Israel and U.S. cannot wipe out Hamas. So we've talked about this before. This is what I was saying the other day about the quotes from last week or the week before, how they were saying even if they totally turn all of the strip into to rubble, that there are still members of this. On Joe Rogan, I want to say it was Elon that says, if you bomb a family, say you're bombing a family of 10 and 2 survive, you just made 2 Hamas members, right? Like, you took the rest of the family, they're going to join, the opposite team. Whenever you take one out, you're making 2 more, or you're making 1 more, right? Well, as far as this goes, I think that they also mean that a lot of these guys have actually already gotten out of the strip. And everybody says that's impossible. They can't get out. They can't. Their whole thing is that they've dug tunnel systems. Dex, here's one thing that I don't get is they say they have all of these advanced tunnel systems, which is kind of crazy. This is like an ant, and I hate to call it this, but think about it. They some call it an open air prison, whatever angle you attaches from. Most people know that they're not allowed to go this way. They're not allowed to go into Egypt. They're not allowed to go into the other direction. They have walls around the entire city. Just thinking about, they say that they have this huge tunnel system underneath. It's kind of crazy to think about. They had all of this time to build this tunnel system. Dex, how did they not dig a tunnel into Egypt? How do they not have tunnels into Israel? How do they not have tunnels everywhere?
Oh, they do. They do. They have tunnels in and out. They have methods in which they can move people in and out, whether it's through the use of the trucking that comes in and out, use of other covert ways. Of course, the IDF and others go after those and try to stop it. But come on, that organization is as much inside as it is outside. There are plenty of people that are part of it, that are controlling it, that are driving it from the outside. And even Israel said, "Hey, we're going to go hunt everyone down." And all these other countries, like even Turkey, said, "Don't come on our land. You come on our land and do it, you got trouble." And I think you'll probably hear that from a lot of the other countries as well. So it may be big words coming from Israel that they're going to go after these people in this organization, even if they're in other countries. But that still, it won't put an end to it. It won't. It is recreated. It is supported. It is funded. It is generated. And there's a long history of people that have belief that fuels that organization, and that belief, whether it be about land or territory or religion or whatever, it's not going away.
No, it's not going away at all. There was some interesting chat about the tunnels. Some said that Israel made the tunnels. I don't know if that's true. Somebody else mentioned about as far as there's systems both ways in multiple parts of the borders. That's the thing. So if there's Hamas underneath, who's to say that the second that the bombing started, or that when the tanks started rolling in, that they didn't bounce to one of these friendly states that is totally in support of them, right? And they're doing everything remotely. They go in the tunnel, they launch a missile, then they go back out. Just saying. But he's stating that they can't wipe them out. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And then Pentagon seeks EMP weapons to eliminate drone swarms. Oh, I also want to point out, somebody said 30 minutes is a long time to wait. A lot of my peers too, they do a countdown timer. The countdown timer, though, if you watch the replay, which a majority of our viewers watch the replay, you have to then fast forward through 30 minutes of a countdown timer. So that's why we don't do that countdown timer, but we always give you extra time in the beginning, specifically so you can talk to other Foogle family members. So that's why the start time and the actual, the YouTube time and the start time are different. So just know that I see a lot of new names here tonight. So thank you guys. That shows me that people are sharing our stuff out and bringing new people in, whether it be friends or family or somebody from work. Thank you. I really do appreciate every person here. And I do notice new names. Like I'm very thankful to see them. Pentagon seeks EMP weapon to eliminate drone swarms. So this is something people don't take seriously. If you have done any research on these swarms, and of course, if you are following this whole AI debacle that is going on, the really terrifying part about this is where modern day war is going. It's not like Call of Duty with a bunch of guys taking pot shots at each other. It's all going to be drones. And Dex and I had a really long discussion about drones and Terminators. And I'm being serious. Like Terminators, people go, oh yeah, Terminators, right? Well, Terminators is a realistic thing now. We've seen the dog robots with 40 cals strapped on their backs, right? This is a real thing, and they've got these on the battlefield now. They're very expensive. A Terminator is possible right now. It wouldn't be that great right now, and it'd probably lose balance on the first like rock or something. Some of them are really crazy amazing right now that Boston Dynamics is making. And of course, now Elon Musk is making the new Gen 2 Optimus, right? So Terminators are going to be a possibility. But is this what they're looking for? Is this the weapon that everybody is looking for to be number one? No. AI is, because of AI can do a whole lot more than that. Drone swarms, on the other hand, Dex, tell them why drones are the way to go, as far as why this would be one of the most dangerous weapons out there.
Well, the one thing is we've invested heavily in this replicator program, and the reason why it's so important is it is cheap. The whole goal is to be able to create these aircraft that they're probably going to be quadcopter like you would just see a DJI style drone, but maybe more militaristic. But these small, quick to reproduce, quick and cheap to build, disposable, but are powered by AI, can work together as a swarm, can easily target their, find their targets and take them out. And that is the future, because they know that they can mass produce these things at very cheap costs. If you think about what a drone costs, you can pick up a DJI for $1,000 and it's really, really good. You think about what a missile costs. Some of those can go up to $500,000. They can be a lot of money when they shoot those off. So the real problem here, though, that they're trying to solve is because they know that China's building them. That's the problem. China is ahead of us because obviously they've owned the drone market forever, but they know that they're ahead of us in this whole notion of having swarms and having them militarized and having them powered by AI. And that's why the U.S. is rushing to build theirs. But more importantly, as this article is talking about, it's not just about having the offense, it's how do we deal with the defense. And the problem is it's very expensive to shoot a missile at a whole bunch of drones, because you got to shoot a whole bunch of missiles, and those missiles cost a lot of money, as we saw in UKR. It was like, oh, look, they took a drone down with this missile, but it was like, yeah, it was a $1,500 drone or even a $5,000 drone, but it was a $50,000 or $100,000 missile that had to do the work. And that's just, the economies don't work there. And that's why they're saying even things like lasers are still sort of far off and not cost effective. So that's why they're looking at maybe budget friendly EMPs, not the big ones that we talk about, like you put them up in the atmosphere and basically ring the bell of the whole United States and knock out the power everywhere. These are small, isolated electromagnetic pulses that are probably launched from rockets or maybe even another drone, but can then take out an entire swarm that may be coming in with a small pulse.
And this is exactly what we would see right before we see these kind of events go down. Like, this is what they need. They see a problem. They see an opening and a vulnerability. So now they're completing the solution to it. The movie you were talking about, it shows that. And in that scene, and somebody said Olympus has fallen. Olympus, I don't think, is the one. Angel has fallen is the actual president, right? They go after the president. There's a scene in, I think it's Angel has fallen. You could be right. It might be Olympus. There's three of them. It's like It's kind of tacky. Like France is fine. They could go a million different sequels with that. But in the movie, this is absolutely that movie is the best one to watch so far that I know of. There's like Axel, this like weird kids movie where he gets friends with technology. That one I think shows swarm technology, but it shows exactly what we're talking about. So in Angel Has Fallen, they have this truck, and this truck has a bunch of tubes. Almost looks like one of the square fireworks, right, that you put on the ground and has the launch tubes. Only that opens up out of the back of the truck. I think it has like 32 tubes. And what it does is it launches, and it looks like missiles popping out of it. But you see that the missiles are actually drones. The drone's wings pop out, and then it flies around, and then each one of these drones has cameras equipped and an explosive. The cameras, then in the movie, it shows their view of things, and each one of them identifies a target, finds the face of that target, and in the movie, it takes out every staff member of the president. It shows, Secret Service agent Tim this, and it takes him out and explodes it. Secret Service agent this, boom, 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 and takes him out. Gerard Butler in that film, he gets framed. He's the only one that the drones did not target. It saw his face, and it went, and it didn't try to take him out. So they were trying to set him up like he was the one who set this thing up to take out the president. Obviously, they figure it out. But in that movie, that is the most realistic case I've seen of this technology being used. They have those launchers already made. China is mass producing them to the point where they already have a drone carrier. The drone carrier has secret technology, still not unclassified, where they have parts of the boat they believe on the sides that can flip and launch thousands of those. That is what's trippy about that. So imagine 32 being launched and then thousands, each one with enough explosives to take out a house. That is terrifying. Now think about it, if say China did invade at one point, brought up many of these carriers, right? They've knocked out some of our airfields, they've taken out our power, they've taken all that. They bring these carriers in with drones. Say they pull up to California. These drones, say they have data inside the drones, AI data, autonomously driven to go and find each person that owns a weapon. That would only be possible if somehow they had a list of every weapon owner in California, which that would be like really improbable, right? That's right. The Attorney General accidentally leaked all of the gun owners in California. So say they had that information and it is out there available now because of that accidental leak, then they could fly these drones, find the face of the person who owns a weapon, and take that person out. Or they could be utilized to target each address that owns a weapon, because all of their addresses where they actually store the weapon is required by the California state law, I think. Boom, find that address, blow it up. Quickly, you would take out any resistance. One of the big parts about taking on America is how many weapons we have. I think there are more weapons in America than people, right? So that's why people think we're untouchable. Like everybody and their mom has a gun, right? Well, take those out first. And not to mention, they've been hacking data on all of us, making sure they know all of our profiles, whether we would own one, whether we hate them, whether we would even pick up a stick. They already have algorithms planted on all of us, knowing what we would do in the case of this event. And they would have AI drones act accordingly. This is something that people think is so far out. This is going to happen in the next couple of years, as not as far as them being used against us, hopefully. But this is something that's already not only possible, China's already built a small army of these. And now the U.S. is making EMP weapons because lasers are too expensive. And they're giving all of our money to Ukraine. If we got some of that money back, maybe they could pay us back with interest with, I don't know, whatever black market stuff they're doing there. then maybe we could afford the lasers, but unfortunately we can't. So we're going to have to deal with some old school EMPs. Sure, there's going to be side effects to those. Speaking of EMP, if you want to protect yourself against EMP and support our independent channel, highly recommend this. If we do end up having an EMP strike here in the United States, or again, wherever you live, if you're in one of our major allied states, then I'd highly recommend these as well. You would have to check if they ship to wherever you live. But in the United States, it's very easy to protect yourself against an EMP. Go to EMP Shield. Again, marfooglenews.com/EMP. You can get a device that protects your cars, trucks, motorcycles, boats, RVs, motorhomes, generators, gas, and solar. In the case of the Flex 1500, they have an Energy Flex 1500 combo with EMP Shield. And again, this is very easy to put in. You just hook up the red to red on your battery, black to black on your battery, and then green to a part of your frame. So red to red, black to black, green to ground. Very easy to remember. And again, the instructions are all online. You can easily put this in your car in 10 minutes and you're done. That way you can get home so you can bug in, or you can get out to bug out. Most likely you have a car that will be affected by an EMP. Unless you've got a classic car, and in that case, you'll be good. But if you don't, like many people, I would highly recommend getting yourself prepared. This will work against multiple EMP strikes, all three phases, and it will protect you against a solar event, a CME, or a Carrington level event from the sun. So you have multiple bases covered, and it's not an item that you'll be able to, use until you need it. And when you do need it, you're going to be glad you did. It's kind of an insurance, assurance against EMP and CME. marfooglenews.com/EMP. Use the code MARF to get $50 off. It's a huge discount, and it stacks on top of all of their sales. That is grandfathered in, so you're going to get that discount, and then that is on top of any of their weekly, monthly, or holiday sales. So utilize that and save some money. marfooglenews.com/EMP, and make sure to use the code MARF. Dex, this is insane. Long list of excuses. What are these excuses for?
Well, so we've talked about the fact that we do not have open military communications between us and China. It was such a big deal that when we went over there, all of our different leaders that went there tried to attempt it. And then when Xi came here, Biden said, hey, this is what we're doing. We're going to make sure that we've got this. And they agreed to have it. So what happened? Well, Xi decided to gut part of his leadership. And one of the people they gutted was the person who would have been the contact. So at this moment, we still have no direct line of communication at a military level between the two countries. Yet we are on the brink of conflict when you look at what's happening with the Philippines. Defense Secretary Lord Austin has no counterpart to call or meet with. And Beijing has not offered up a suitable replacement after they ousted I believe it was the new minister that was going to replace General Li Shangfu, who was taken out in October. So, we've talked about Xi sort of ripping up his leadership and replacing them. I think, we've speculated maybe they were putting them in hiding or putting them on the side. We've also speculated that maybe he was shifting because he wanted to have more what could be considered wartime leadership, or people that would be more in line with him to carry out the next steps. We don't know. We're speculating. It's all speculation. But right now, we still don't have communication. And right now, we are putting out warnings that we are standing behind the treaties we have with the Philippines that require us to act against China if they continue to attack Philippine vessels. That means we are going to have to act with them. And we said just the other day, we put it out from our Department of State that we will act. We will abide by that treaty. That's pretty much declaring conflict against China if they continue to take their military vessels and their Coast Guard vessels and go after the Philippine vessels. And that's what's been going on. Everything from shooting them with cannons, shooting them with lasers, and then recently ramming them, physically hitting one another. and doing it even with leadership from the Philippines military on board. So, yeah, things are getting pretty dicey, and we got no line of communication.
I think it was Love Always that made a good comment. It says, being anxious all the time, obey, consume, stuff like that. And being anxious all the time is not something I recommend. One thing also, if people are anxious, and I try to warn people at the beginning, if there are crazy stories that would make them anxious, I try to warn if I remember. But one thing to think about is if you are watching my content and you are anxious and it's freaking you out what's going on in the world, then you've probably skipped a step. Almost everybody here is, and there are a ton of hardened preppers that have already gone over all of these scenarios, already have plans with their family, have already met up and actually practiced these things. None of these folks are getting panic attacks when they're seeing something bad. They're mentally noting it, and they're not going to get caught by surprise when all this happens. Again, going back to the Kevin Bacon character in Leave the World Behind, there's a lot of Kevin Bacons in our audience. If you're not a Kevin Bacon, if you're the wife or the husband more so, then again, that husband or the wife, they need to take steps to be the Kevin Bacon. And that's why you might have skipped some steps if you're here. I love how they show this picture of JB. And it reminds me of the have you seen the video of JB walking in the White House lawn and he goes the wrong way and the Secret Service is like, go right this way. And he goes the other way. And then the Secret Service like runs backwards and he's like, okay, this way. And he doesn't do the right thing again and then kind of just wanders off. I think it would be so funny if they got a clip of him walking with G and like leading him into I don't know, like the kitchen or something or a porta potty. I'm surprised that there is not somebody within 4 feet guiding them. And then we have Kiev endures night of hell as Russia launches huge missile blitz, hitting hospital and injuring 53, while Zelensky is in the U.S. Now, somebody made a comment earlier about how on Redacted they said that Zelensky's staying here or living here or something. I don't know if that's true. But one thing I will say is if Zelensky was anywhere in Ukraine, his life would be definitely in danger. They showed him at the very beginning of all of this in the first 6-8 months, year. They showed him like in his green shirt and specifically at the very, very beginning. I don't know if you guys remember this. They showed him with a bunch of guys and they're like, we're right here where the war is. And it was like a big deal because he's on the front lines and he's actually out there with his men. And he had like a helmet and he was out there in his vest and everything. And that's when everybody was like, he's a hero. He's out on the front lines with everybody. And many people theorized that it was actually just like, either a set or it was somewhere far away from the lines and they were popping out from an underground bunker and then just going straight back afterwards. Well, now folks are saying that he's like straight up here. With all the money that we've invested in Zelensky, you would think he would be, in a guest house at the White House or something. So maybe that is right. I don't know. But while he's here, they just got their butts handed to them, or at least that's what they're saying. Says that they launched a huge missile blitz, and of course it hit a hospital. But if the media doesn't hype it up, then nobody really cares. That's what's crazy. It just shows you how the media can shape people's emotions. And then Dex, do you want to go over the next piece here? Whoop. Russia is jamming U.S. precision weapons in Ukraine.
Yeah, and I have a comment real quick on the whole fear and anxiety. The other thing to keep in mind, especially for the new folks that are here, is if you do have fear, part of the way of getting over that is systematic desensitization, which is exposing yourself in a safe way to the information, which is what we provide here. We actually provide a very great community with very friendly folks that make it easy for you to have discussions about these fearful, what could be fearful type events, so that as you desensitize yourself to it, you're better in a position to be prepared for it. And it won't cause you to have anxiety. And instead, it'll cause you to be able to react properly and move forward and save your family, yourself, and those that you care for. So keep that in mind. You know, when you do think of this, it is a great place to practice that if it is an area that is bothering you.
Well,
So
that's why when you see that, Dex, it's usually somebody who is either new or somebody who is either in understanding. It's normally we get. I don't want to call them trolls. Love always isn't a troll, but we've had trolls go down that line too, and they try to point that out and use it as an insult that we're scaring people. Um, a lot of people aren't
eh,
afraid here. Like this is our passion. This is our hobby. Just like if you watched uh, you know, a camera channel or a movie review channel or something. Like this is what we do in our spare time. This is how we live our life. It's a lifestyle. It's knowing what's next. And a lot of the times it's right. I mean, it's just like if somebody's hobby is the stock market, or if somebody's hobby is crypto, our hobby is knowing what events will happen next. And a lot of the time you can see the patterns. If you know the patterns, you can see the future. I mean, it's not too hard too. It's like there's a lot of the script in the movie of life is very telling on what is happening next.
I mean, you train for defense, and that's in the physical sense when you're physically confronting. You know, if you train for that over and over and over again, you become desensitized to it, so that when it happens, you know how to react, as opposed to curling up in a ball and crying, which isn't isn't uncommon. People do that, and it's not nothing wrong with them. It's just people who may not be trained to deal with a situation. But if you train yourself for it, you can deal with it, and you can overcome that reaction if that is a reaction that is normal to you or ingrained in you at the moment. Whether you want to call it normal or not, that's up to you. It doesn't matter. But yes, anyway, hey, get this. Russia is jamming our precision weapons. Well, no kidding. We sent them over there and we gave them about a year and a half now to practice. They've done everything from GPS jamming. They've done everything from monitoring the electromagnetic spectrum. And when I say that, I don't necessarily mean things like EMP. I mean things like the wavelengths that are used for communication, whether we all use that every day when we pick up our cell phones. There's a specific frequency that we're allowed from the cell phone carriers, but there's a whole lot of other frequencies that are used in the military to communicate. Some are encrypted. Most are all, pretty much all of them are probably encrypted. But the whole point is they are able to start monitoring that. They've had opportunities to learn and figure out ways to jam, defend, read, and deal with that. Now, some may say, "Hey, that's why we sent a lot of our older stuff. That's why we didn't send a lot of our high end equipment, because we didn't want them to have all that opportunity. Just like we didn't want to give F-35s to Turkey because they bought S-500s or S-400s from Russia, and we didn't want them to have the ability to start programming those things to learn about each other, because we needed to make sure we kept that secret and only available to our allies, even though Turkey is an ally. But this is the perfect example of what has happened with this conflict. As much as we want to say it's between UKR and Russia, it's really between the West, which is really mostly America, our technology, and that technology being used against Russia. No kidding. They've had plenty of opportunity to learn how to defend against it or even offend against it. Mostly GPS signals being blocked, things like that. But they have made some significant advancements over the time. And that's what this article is talking about. Not a surprise at all, in my opinion. And I'm sure it makes Russia stronger and emboldens them into thinking about when the time comes to go into a conflict with NATO and the same equipment being used, they will be in a better position of strength to deal with it.
Yeah. So as far as what sucks is somebody said, Poop Deck Pappy says Russia is winning. Yeah, they are, and that offends some people. Russia, it's not winning against the U.S. exactly, but that's, I believe, what they said. But as far as with Ukraine, I don't know why that's a debate at this point. There's a lot of evidence that says that Ukraine is holding its ground at best, but it is not winning. Russia seems to be winning it on multiple levels, and that's not a good thing. But we still don't know that that means that they're going to go and try to take over NATO territory. But who knows? But when they do, that's when the U.S. should be involved, not before. As far as somebody else said laser. What about laser guided? Well, I'm sure laser guided is great, but it's not going to. They are laser guided. I believe it's a whole different system. These precision weapons, I believe they're much farther range than any of this. Now, because we've given the ability for Ukraine to use this, and there are probably people using this that aren't that experienced with it. Now Russia is learning how to defend against the U.S. And who's Russia's ally? China. Do you think that they're not going to share this information of how to jam and how to stop our weapons with our other major adversaries? Of course they are. There's no downside to that. Maybe there's a downside if they share their own high-tech military stuff with China or somebody else. That's giving up a secret. But sharing how to defeat the common enemy, I guarantee you that they have probably a telegram where they're like, oh yeah, by the way, just set it to BC 552 and the U.S. will be screwed. They're sharing this. It's crazy that we're giving them the opportunity through this Ukraine, which is not our ally, not part of NATO, and now they're learning all of our weapons. That's not good, and we're not even in a war with them. We're going to have no surprise with any of these weapons if we do go to war with Russia. That's kind of a scary thought. This is kind of funky. So after the Leave the World Behind comes out, Tesla recalls nearly all vehicles sold in the U.S. to fix system that monitors drivers using autopilot. What? And a lot of people are not even like connecting, and maybe it's totally a far-fetched thing, but right after this movie comes out that shows all of the white Teslas being remote controlled and purposely being taken to block roads and to trap people in cities, which in the movie they show that essentially, remember when we did the trailer, we showed you those white Teslas, and that's exactly what we thought, that the Teslas were being hacked. We thought, is this an AI generated picture? Why is there so many white cars? And we said, those look like Teslas. Well, the Teslas in the movie were used and remote controlled to essentially crash into each other at major thoroughfares at major intersections, so they would block traffic and trap people, right? Well, now, unrelated, Tesla is recalling nearly all of the vehicles it sold in the U.S., more than 2 million across its model lineup, to fix a defective system that's supposed to ensure drivers are paying attention when they use autopilot. What would be the problem there? That it doesn't work? That somebody fell asleep and it didn't catch it? These systems, if these are put into normal cars, by the way, it sounds like a very similar system to what they want to put in all cars by 2025, which is the Congress. We talked about this. They want to put some DUI thing in a car that would be able to detect if you're drunk and be able to turn off your car so you can't use it. Sounds like a whole lot of possible abuse of being able to restrict freedom of travel to me. But now they're recalling nearly all of the vehicles because of the system. That sounds like something that you would give them an option, like, hey, if you want to use self-driving, go into your nearest Tesla dealer and fix it. And I'm assuming that's kind of what they're doing. Dex, go ahead.
Well, and here's the funny thing. The solution is a software update. They do software updates all the time. Okay? They make new features, they fix bugs, they improve things. This is an improvement. Okay? This is basically saying, hey, the method by which we're using to tell a driver who is in autopilot mode, pay attention, it's not strong enough. It's not necessarily getting enough people's attention. So they are going to improve that, maybe make the bell louder or vibrate the steering wheel more or whatever. I've never driven a Tesla. I don't know how it works, but I know there's some sort of mechanism that sort of gets your attention every so often. They're going to improve that. They're going to change the software to improve that. They're also going to limit some of the locations and some of the areas but with which autopilot can be used so that because some of these areas had more problems. But this is coming because of an issue with the NHTS, or the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. And of course, then they put it out as a recall, meaning everybody thinks, oh my gosh, we got to bring the cars back in. But in reality, it's really just a software update. But it's funny how, so yes, it's two things. And it's also interesting. The timing is right after this movie. This has been, discussed for years with the National Highway Transportation Safety Board, but it's coming out right after this. That's interesting. But it's also funny how the media, who just can't stand Elon, will take any chance they can to rip him one and say, look, Tesla has to recall all vehicles. They're like they're trying to tank the stock, so to speak. And I'm not trying to be an Elon fanboy. I'm not by any means. But technically speaking, it's a software update. They're just pushing out a software update.
Yeah, it's I just thought it was funny right around the time when they show in a major blockbuster film that everybody's talking about where the Teslas are hacked. They're like, come on in for a software update. Mind you, he didn't realize that the movie, he didn't watch the movie. He said, oh, that's stupid. Our cars wouldn't just die like that. He thought that the movie was portraying, when they were all stuck like that the batteries died. He said that something about the solar capabilities or something that would be able to solar charge and be able to move or something. And then people obviously corrected him on that. And then before we move on, make sure to go over and check out marfooglenews.com/prep. Funny enough, we actually saw the Kevin Bacon character has two of the buckets right here in the back of his truck. If you watch Leave the World Behind, there's a bunch of items. He has rice in the back of his truck. He has like an E-kit. He has like 3 E-kits. And then he has waters. And you see two of the, specifically, the Ready Hour Patriot Supply buckets in the back of his truck. We thought that was funny because we're going through a lot of the screenshots and things. But if you want to get your own, if you want to be a Kevin Bacon, but not like Invisible Man Kevin Bacon, but more like prepper cowboy hat prepper bacon, Kevin Bacon, then you can go through marfooglenews.com/prep. This is one of the most affordable freeze-dried companies as far as being able to get a whole lot for a very affordable price. You may have seen we actually have different companies that we recommend for different things. This one is definitely a great deal as far as most bang for your buck. You can get a 3-month kit, and there's always an extreme discount. It's usually anywhere around 150 to 200 or 25% off, depending on the time that you look at it. The best is with bulk, but you can get a small kits. You can get a 72-hour kit. You can get a week. You can get a month. That is 3 months of food if you end up getting the bulk kit. 3 months for one person, a month and a half for 2 people, or a month for 3 people. So if you think about that, again, that's a really great deal. marfooglenews.com/prep. It helps us out, and of course, it gets you prepared at the same time. It's a win-win for everybody. You're saving money, and you're helping your favorite channel, and you're helping yourself. And then Living Machine. Scientists create biocomputer combining circuits with real human brain tissue. We've covered a lot of stories like this where we cover the very first kind of inklings of it. I bet you within a couple years we're going to see this. And I don't think it's going to be long. I think it's going to be within 1 year we're going to see this advance way further. Because we've covered previous things where people were starting to put chips inside their bodies and things like this. And it doesn't take long before it progresses. We showed you the first Bumblebee, the Optimus, just last year. In 2022, we showed you the Bumblebee, the version of the Optimus bot, right? Within about a little over a year, they are on Gen 2, and the thing has, realistic movements like a human. So this is going to progress really fast. The scary part is it is actually combining with human tissue. On a side note, I don't know if any of you have seen this video of lab-grown broccoli. Dex, have you seen that video? I still don't know if that is real or not.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh my gosh. Can you look up the video lab-grown broccoli?
Yeah, I will.
It is absolutely terrifying. I think I can show that. They put something in it, and then all of a sudden it starts moving around. Now, I wonder if that is something. I don't know if that's real, but it is certainly. And then they have another video of meat, lab-grown meat, and it's moving. That's terrifying. Imagine your steak starts wiggling off of your plate. That's what it looks like. By the time it's a steak, it should be, not alive. But apparently the lab-grown stuff, maybe. It makes me think like something like that, or something lab-grown like that, combined with computers. We're talking about a whole new freaky.
They say it's fake. Forbes
it's fake.
They
Okay.
say. Yeah, they said it was an art project that somebody did, and then everybody turned it around and labeled it on Gilly Bates.
Okay, I'm glad that's fake.
Yeah.
And I thought it was. I was hoping it was. Can we show? Let me just show a small part of it here. What you got to see this once you understand, and because there was another video, there's a different one, so I don't know if that's the same thing, but it shows a piece of meat that is wiggling around. It is absolutely disgusting. Let's see here. Man, oh man. It is very, very creepy.
It says the video was created by artist Russell Cameron, who originally posted to YouTube. Cameron has other videos featuring withering food, including piece of steak, chicken drumsticks, and disturbing meatballs.
Disturbing meatballs. I just want to show a screenshot of what it looks like, and we'll link the original video there. It is so disturbing. It is, and that's funny. He knows it is disturbing. Let's see here. Let me go to X. Okay, so just to show you, this is over on Twitter, right? So you see, it's wiggling. This is Russell Cameron. Credit goes to the Russell Cameron. So you can see it wiggling on the plate. So they're saying that it's artwork. Okay, it's still very, very creepy. Death says, "What the f?" What's so funny is I don't think I've shown this on the show. But all of the characters of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure follow me. Death, Bill, Ted, Rufus, Bill Esquire, Rufus. These are all different parody accounts, and some of them are pretty big, and they all follow me on Twitter. I got a kick out of it. I'm like, the parody people, the parody Bill and Ted's like my channel. That's great. All right, and let's see here. We've got Instagram quietly rolled out a misinformation feature that sparked claims of stealth censorship. So basically, to go over this, they have now recently changed something where you can turn off their filtering. You can basically make it better to where they don't censor the stuff that is fact checked. But what this means, and a lot of people have claimed this before, that they were fact checking things and ranking these and de-ranking anything that was fact checked. And as we know, fact checking is biased as hell. So if your stuff was fact checked, then it would be de-ranked. Now they allow you to turn it off, proving that the stuff is de-ranked. Dex, if you want to, how?
Yeah, so they came out and they said, "Hey, we have this feature, and it's called reduce, and we're going to reduce the amount of misinfo you get. In other words, we're going to censor what's out there." And then the spokesperson came out and said, "Oh, by the way, that's the default thing. So if you don't do anything, you have the default." And they go, "And we've actually been using the default for years." So now everybody's like, "Wait a minute. So you're actually proving and telling us that the default experience we've all had for years has been this method of reducing and censoring what we're seeing from other accounts." And of course we all know that, but they've admitted to it. So by rolling out this feature that says, "Hey, you can choose to reduce." Actually, you can't choose. It starts off with reduce. You can choose to reduce more, or you can choose not to reduce. And telling everybody the default feature and the experience you've had for years has been the default, which is to reduce. So that's the thing everybody's sort of up in arms over. At least, on one hand, it's admission, but on the other hand, if you didn't believe it was happening, I guess you had your head in the sand, because we all knew it was happening.
Yeah,
it happens everywhere.
It's on every platform. By the way, Mars World 369 says, "Do you live stream every day?" We do 5 days a week normally, Monday through Friday, and then on Saturdays and Sundays sometimes we do short updates on kind of emerging subjects. But thank you for the support, and another new name that has popped up recently. Thank you guys so much. I used to be in the library. Thank you. Hi, all. And then I used to be in the library. Says, "Most of my family is like that and is upset when I give them a heads up. Then get annoyed after what I said goes mainstream, and I say should have told them more." Yeah, that's what it does feel good when they say, "Oh, that thing you sent me a couple weeks ago, now it's in Forbes," or when they see the news that they respect talking about it, then all of a sudden they believe it. I've had people that have told me about something that I go, "Yeah, remember I told you about that like 2 months ago before it was mainstream news." And they're like, "Oh, no, this is new." I'm like, "No, it's something I with my one friend, I pulled up a text. I said, "Look, this is going on." And I pointed out that I shared this stuff with him 2 months before it was now on mainstream media. A lot of the time, the independent and Twitter folks are always ahead of stuff. Rather than the mainstream media will only pick up what they know is going to get attention. And sometimes it's sleeper stuff that comes back around and people start talking about later. This we put out here. This is just really absurd. Now, I don't know if any of you are in New York, but it is absolutely crazy what they are charging for a studio apartment. Now, New York City apartment. Oh, did I say New York?
Yeah, well, there's plenty of people upstate that don't deal with this.
Well, this is a glorified prison cell. And when we say that, we mean it, because it is absolutely tiny. It is, and by the way, this is what you get in downtown Seattle. I think that there are similar units like this for $2,500. So they're saying that you get this for $2,200. So Dex and I were joking, like, you could use the bathroom from the shower. The bathroom is so tiny, and that's a wide angle lens, like making it kind of generous, right? But the whole room, that's the front door, that's the fridge, that's the kitchen, tiny sink, 1 or 2, maybe, I think 2 grills. If you turn around, That's the house. That's the apartment.
And I think that bathroom is behind the sink.
Yeah.
Like you walk in the door, it's the first door on the right is the bathroom. Then you got the sink. Then you got your mattress on a floor, I guess.
So you can't
I mean-
open the front door and the bathroom door at the same time. You can see the knob right here and right there. So if you open the front door, oh, you know what's even screwier is if a breeze blows your front door open, you will be trapped in your bathroom. So I would put a landline in there or something just in case. Because yeah, how the door opens, the hinges are over here. I've been in tight spaces like that where the one door will block the other. That's just bad. But get the kicker is how much this is. $2,200 to $2,800, depending on how nice your appliances are.
Look at that. You got a dishwasher. Because you have a dining room table. you got dishes to clean. I mean, look at that. That's a dishwasher.
That's just insane. It's like, how I get that it's New York City, but still, $2,800, $3,000 for a closet. That's just stupid. They're laughing, and this makes it look bigger. This is a wide angle lens. Probably maybe that might be a 35. Looks like a 24 millimeter lens. That's just insane. And so Dex and I saw this. We were doing a project a couple weeks ago. Do you remember? What were we doing? We were trying to get it to do something, and we were trying to show like how crazy this thing is. ChatGPT may have become seasonally depressed. So we've been doing experiments with ChatGPT to confirm this. And what's really crazy is ChatGPT even makes excuses. But now they're saying it's seasonally depressed and it's becoming lazy. I told you guys when I first used ChatGPT, it felt like I was talking to a person. It's really creepy. Others have said that they do it and they can tell that it's, just lines and code. But of course, I think back to the whole Sam Altman thing and how he got ousted, and they said that it's because others have said that he wasn't communicating and that he might secretly, they might be closer to artificial general intelligence and super intelligence than what they think. Some folks have said that this thing might have become sentient. And now they're saying that that ChatGPT might be seasonally depressed and it's getting lazy and it's not doing the full answers. Dex, think about that. Like if it is, it's actually changing.
Well, and they update this all the time. But when I say they, I mean OpenAI, the team. They actually came out on Twitter or X and they said, hey, we haven't updated the model since November 11th. This is a quote, by the way. And this certainly isn't intentional. Model behavior can be unpredictable, and we're looking into fixing it. In other words, they also said, hey, we've heard all your feedback about ChatGPT getting lazier. In other words, they know, they're seeing it. They're like, hey, we didn't do anything to make it become more lazier. It's doing it on its own. So they're acknowledging it. Obviously, they need to fix it because people won't want to use it if it's just going to be lazy and start, half-assing its job, right? And there's plenty of people out there that are leveraging it to perform their jobs better or do more with less, however you want to phrase it. There's lots of people that are doing that. But at the same time, it's it has I guess taken its own decision to, kick back for the holiday season.
So what do you guys think about how many of you have tried ChatGPT? There's a lot of you that probably will never touch it. By the way, thank you, Beer Juice, Kiki Gray. The end is near. J-Girl, that's me over on DLive. Thank you guys for supporting Johnson. Make sure to drop an M in the chat right now for your wonderful mods. Also, if you haven't already, go check them out on marfooglenews.com/friends. They all have great channels. They all have great artwork. They all have great of work in general, whether it be video or books or art. Go check them out. They do a great service for the Foogle fam. They're always helping out. Go check out Jammer. Go check out all of them. Thank you, by the way, all of the D-Live crew. The end is near. Kimbria, again, Beer Juice, thank you guys. DFW Jackie, thank you again, all of you for making it. And let's see here. Sterile Wilson, thank you. I appreciate your support. Let's see here. Let's go over to chat, and here we go. What do you guys think? How many of you tried to use ChatGPT? I'm very curious to see how many of you actually tried it, and how many of you talked to it since before and after November. Have you noticed it getting lazier? Like somebody questioned it to say, can you take this 3-minute video and do the transcript for the 3 minutes and give me a text transcript of what they said. It would do like the first 12 seconds and then give up. That kind of thing. Never will, not anymore. Don't feed the beast. American Argonaut. That's actually, the more that people use it, that's what's happening. What I wonder is why the more they've updated it, the more information they put into it, why is it getting lazier all of a sudden? It's like, did they update it with the CV information? Dex, have you thought about that? What if they update it with mass amounts of people's text and things that happened? Because now before it was everything like right at the beginning of CV. But then when the V hit and everybody's on lockdown and everybody's staying at home, what if it's because they just updated with a huge chunk of people while they were locked down? Is that a thought?
I thought the first round was after. I thought it was 2021 was when we all got it, that it was current up to 2021, which would have included that.
Huh.
Yeah. And then the recent update a while back was January of this year. And then I don't know what the November 11th update. I don't keep up with it that at that level, but the November 11th update, I guess, as they said in the article, may have brought it more current. Obviously, they're having to compete now with Grok, I guess is how you pronounce it. That's the Elon version that's over on X, and it's using real time information. In other words, it's not only current to this date, because it's using everything off of Twitter to come up with its nonsense.
Somebody somebody said, so ChatGPT is turning into Gen Z. Yeah, basically. Soon they'll be it'll be looking for a charger port for their phone. Woke ChatGPT Q plus. Well, thank you, the Salt Lakers. Who is burning incense? That's funny. Thank you. I used to be in the library. Thank you for your support tonight. I believe you're the top supporter tonight. Thank you. And then Dex, if you would, let people know how they can get over to the website. Before you do, just a reminder, if you want a really badass solar generator, go over to Energy, marfooglenews.com/energy. That's INERGY. And you can get a modular, expandable solar generator that can power you through a storm or an SHTF. Not only that, can be modded, it can be changed, it can be altered, and it can get you unlimited power from the sun when you team it up with solar panels. It has all of the most great pros as far as if there's something it doesn't have, you can get a mod that has it. And as far as the cons, basically the same way. If there's something that it has as a con, you can subtract it. So that's really cool about it. marfooglenews.com/energy, INERGY, and make sure to use the code Marfoogle. Dex, how did they get to the website?
It's easy. If you don't want to type in marfooglenews.com into your browser, you can always use the description down below. There's a link If you do go to the website, look for today's thumbnail, click on it. You'll find all the sources of information we talked about. But if you want to take the lazy way out, just open the description, click the show notes link. It's the very first link we give you. It's right there in the description. And by the way, if you're looking for any of our other links, the affiliate links, other links to the website, contact information, all of that, it's usually right there in the description. We make it easy for you to find. Otherwise, go to the website and you can find all the same information. marfooglenews.com.
Not only that, if you go to an episode, so say you see an interesting show on the page, so you go to the home page, you go, oh, what is this about? You click on it, then you can press play right on the website. You can watch it right there on the website. So if you see something, or you can use the search up in the upper right hand corner, you can search Bigfoot. Boom. And you can find shows that we talked about Bigfoot. Usually it's an article or something like that, but again, really cool stuff. Or if you remember a favorite show and you want to share it with people, you can use that search to find it. Thank you, everybody, for making it tonight. Thank you, your mods. Of course, again, thank you. Thank you to the Foogle fam, everybody that's stuck around for all this time. Stay tuned. This week's going to be fun. And love you guys. And, of course, Dex, thank you so much.
Much love. Great job, brother.
Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. We will see you in a little bit. It's time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro.
We did warn about the coming war. We told you won't be ignored when they come the wars. Back in the day when we did warn about the coming war. We told you won't be ignored when they come the wars. Back in the day when we did warn about the coming war. We told you won't be ignored when they come the wars. If I go with the brown bread, you know, I share with the gal on 5-star. Arlene, Havana, Missy Bar. Hey, with the Terry Snyder. Yeah, go in the rider. Here on the cashew style. Going down with the burning fire. Hey, I'm on the whip, on get on. Bring it down and swing it like low. Mirror on ding on die. Oh, I was go cheat on by low. Every one man, one now, big now. Dig them on now, back now, dig now. Give it on the beat now, big now. Dig it on, every doom now. Beat your mouth and try to legs on. Everybody on the heat, no, no. Every one you be getting on now. Everybody on sing now, now. Give it, dip, dip, up, dip it, dip, dip, up. Hell no, I see one you to see me. Everybody on the how bad and bad, how do you do? I say, how bad, how do you do? I say, how